I think as a kid, when you're in kind of like a helpless situation like that, your imagination can be like your superpower because it gets you through pretty much anything. What's up? I'm the Empathetic Chicken, and this is going to be a video about my relationship to art and just some of my thoughts on it and how it's been useful for me in my life. And I just wanted to share a little bit about me and maybe start a conversation if anybody else can relate to some of the stuff I'm talking about. So as a kid, I kind of grew up in a really stressful, chaotic environment. My parents kind of hated each other and they did not get along like hardly any of the time. So it was a very just unsettling environment to grow up in. And I guess they weren't really the most supportive because they were dealing with their own stuff kind of out in the country, and there weren't a lot of people around. My parents didn't have friends or anything, so we didn't get to play with other kids, and so I just never really learned the social skills to navigate the world. So I didn't get to practice being around people that much. I mean, I went to school obviously, but when I was at school I wasn't really that vocal, and I didn't know how to make friends or anything. My parents just kind of taught us to be afraid of everybody, so I just never learned how to interact with people. I want to go into the different ways that art was crucial for me in kind of surviving my childhood and just life in general. So one of the first ways is that it kind of gave me an outlet for being in such a horrible situation. I kind of figured out that my imagination was a tool that I could use to kind of disengage from the situation. It was so horrible that I didn't want to be there. So I mean, I could kind of check myself out at any time. It gave me something to do and focus on, so that I didn't have to be caught up in all the chaos inside and everything. I think as a kid, when you're in kind of a helpless situation like that, your imagination can be your superpower because it gets you through pretty much anything. So another way that art was very useful to me is kind of establishing a voice for myself, because I mentioned, I didn't really build the social skills. So when I realized that I could make images and substitute those for verbal communication, it was the best thing ever. So I went to, I say I didn't really develop social skills. So in school I was just the weirdo that didn't talk to anyone, and my sister had to kind of talk for me a lot because I was just so anxious in any kind of social situation. And it's a long story, I don't want to bore with the details, but I just never learned to be my own person because she was always there to help me out of anything. I mean, that was good, but in the long run, when I had to become a person in the world, it kind of wasn't gonna continue. It wasn't gonna work anymore. So I guess in high school is when my art kind of got me noticed, because we had a teacher. She was a social services lady, not a social worker, but it was this weird position. She helped out the kids and stuff. And so she took interest in us because we were always drawing and stuff, and she had a major in art. And somehow, I don't know why she was working at that school, but it just kind of happened. So it was lucky. But she kind of took interest in us, and then we somehow developed a bond. And she's the one who helped me get into art school eventually. And in art school, that was kind of another upgrade for the use of my imagination in art, because I finally discovered that I could kind of process all the trauma from my childhood through making art. Because I think we always kind of I don't know, I don't want to generalize. I think everybody is creative and they have the ability to express their emotions and process stuff. through, like, I mean, any form of expression, but like, I guess I'm focusing more on like drawing because that's my area. But like, I had been doing that anyway as a kid in like journals and stuff, just like drawing and all that. But like, I hadn't really dedicated as much time to it as when I was in art school and could like make it a main focus. And so that was really like life-changing for me to realize like that I could take these feelings that I had from childhood and like translate them into like images and just kind of like get out some of that pain. So through that process, it really felt like I was finding out like what I had to say, because when I was a kid, I never really felt like I could speak up because of all the arguing, and I didn't want to like take any sides or make anybody feel like I didn't love them or something. Because another thing that I struggled with was worrying about my brother and my mom because they were suicidal, and I always just felt like this need to have like the words to express to them like that I love them and I wanted them around, but I never knew what to say. I was always in these situations where they were upset and I just felt helpless because I was like, I don't know what to say. So that like added to my whole feeling of like not having a voice or the words to express myself. So like art kind of gave me that voice without like having to verbally express myself. Those are just some ways that art, creativity, imagination, whatever you want to call it, has been helpful in my life. So I hope this was kind of interesting, and I'd like to hear from other people, like what do you feel like is the thing that maybe got you through a difficult time, or like what is something that your life wouldn't have been the same without. So yeah, let me know in the comments and we can have a conversation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.